Good to meet you, Adele, Julia, and Alessandra. Thanks for joining. So I'm Pauline Cheng. I'm Deputy Director of the Mediterranean Youth Orchestra, Orchestre des Jeunes de la Méditerranée in France, working for the Festival d'Aix-en-Provence. And today we are here as part of Medinea On Air program, which is a program supported by Erasmus Plus that we are leading with our partners from Turkey, Malta, Italy, Portugal, and all together we are creating webinars in order to help young artists with the professional key that you need. I think, oh yes, somebody's joining. Great. Today I'm here with Quentin Hindley, who is here with us. And we will talk about, in particular, building your strategy when it comes to audition. As an orchestra musician, or even if you're not an orchestra player, even if today we're going to have this focus and this example, but you need to build your strategy. So we'll talk about this. I will share my screen now, and I hope you will be able to see my screen. Is it okay for all of you? Yes? Great. So let's start. First, I will let Quentin introduce himself. His conductor. We are working together since quite a long time. Please, Quentin.
Do you hear me? I think yes. Yes. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy to be here to try to help you to prepare the auditions if you want. And I mean the orchestra, the Youth Mediterranean Orchestra, or another one, especially the next one. I mean the professional one. I'm working for many years, maybe 8 or 9 years with the Youth Mediterranean Orchestra as a jury member and a conductor. So we will try to give you the best advice we can. Maybe Pauline, you can begin with the plan.
So yes, please. So just one thing, we will talk quite a lot in the first part of this webinar. And if you have questions, and I'm sure you're going to have questions, please keep these for the end of the webinar. Or if something just pop up during the webinar, you can write in the chat box also, and we will try to reply. Is it okay? Great. So let's go. First, I'm trying to, sorry, to jump to the other page. Can you see my screen? Is it still working? Yes, okay. Yeah, here we are. First, as any project you're leading in your career, your audition is like, you have to consider your audition as a project. So you need a strategy. First, you need to be very, very, very clear about why you want to audition. And that's the case in many situations we're facing as panel. People are here, but they don't really know why they're here. They just wanted to try something, to test something, and you can feel it as a panel member. And it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. So the first thing is to be really clear first with yourself about your why. Why do you want to apply? And by doing this, you need to do quite a lot of things, but first it's to get to know precisely the project or the orchestra you're applying for. You can find a lot of information usually on websites, on brochures, on different things with the criteria also of the musicians an orchestra or an ensemble is looking for. So it's very important to read everything carefully, to also watch videos, to listen to recordings of this music ensemble in order to check if this is for you. Okay, the first thing is you really need to be comfortable with the idea of auditioning. Sometimes it can happen also that a teacher or somebody of your family or friends tell you, well, you should apply, but it's not enough. You need to have your own idea and your own very precise idea about what it means to apply for an orchestra, to apply for a music ensemble, what is doing this music ensemble, what are these main values, and you need to ask yourself, does it correspond with my own values, my own aim, and is it needed also for my career? The second thing, it can seems very basic, but it happened quite often that musicians apply and then realize they are not available for the audition or for the project. And it's very disturbing as a panel, because you see a list of registrants and people who applied with very beautiful biographies and videos, and finally they just can't make it, but they applied. So, you know, it's a very basic thing, but it's part of your strategy. Apply only if you know that you are fully available, of course. That's very important. And then you're available, you know the project, it fits with your expectations. So be clear about your own motivation, your own goal. And you need to be in a particular mindset when it comes to audition to something. You need to be focused, you need to work hard. It's difficult, it's challenging. You can also be a bit stressed, and that's absolutely normal. So in order to face all of this, you need to be very clear. You taking the challenge, you're also taking an opportunity. It needs to meet your goals and your expectation in order to face the challenging. And then, of course, it's another advice, but with Quentin, and Quentin can share his experience about this, but asking for advices, asking to people you know who could be part of a project, of an orchestra music ensemble, it's also the best way to have information. Quentin, I'll let you express yourself about your own experience in this networking process of an audition.
So, especially when you come to the audition for this orchestra, we are not a jury as a competition for a professional orchestra. We are here to help you. So be confident. It's right every time somebody begins to play and stops, and then it's the panic. No, we are here to help, so you have a second chance. We are here to give you advice, and if we stop you during the audition to ask for something different, don't be disappointed. That it's really to help, so you can change everything. I would like to introduce you what is the difference between this jury for this orchestra and the professional. And I would like to
think,
yeah, tell me.
yeah, sorry. Just yes, because it's because we were talking about asking for advices, and that's exactly what Quentin say about the Mediterranean Youth Orchestra, for instance. When you know about with the alumni that it's not a professional orchestra, you can't behave, you will have another strategy. That's the point. And then indeed, now we will switch to the next topic, which is about the goals of an audition, but from the point of view of the panel. Okay, so first we had the point of view of the applicants, and then the point of view of the panel. So what the panel looks for. And indeed, Quentin, you said it already, that we have different kinds of auditions panel. For instance, the auditions panels for a youth orchestra, like the Orchestre des Jeunes de la Méditerranée, or an auditions panel of a professional orchestra. So please, can you explain the kind of difference?
Important difference is that when you play for this audition for example, for the Youth Mediterranean Orchestra, if we have time, we can give you advice and also feedback about what you did. But most of the time we don't have time, because we have 100 contestants in a day, so it's sometimes difficult. But in a professional competition, you never have feedback. So if you get absolutely no voice, you don't know why. And I have to explain you that if you have no one single voice, it's not because you didn't play well. It can be different. For example, 2 years ago, I went to the conservatory in Lyon to make one week with the orchestra, and we organized a competition for young students to go to enter to an orchestra, professional. It was an exercise, but we had a professional jury with different musicians, conductor, one violinist, one percussionist, or percussion player. And the competition was organized exactly the same than a professional one. I mean, there were two rounds: the first round, second round, and the final. And it's always the same. I mean, the first round consists in most of the time one concerto and some excerpts, orchestra excerpts. The second one is another piece, for example, a solo piece. It can be Bach or something else, and also orchestral excerpts. And in the final, you can have a longer piece to play, to show you are a musician. But in the first round, you have to know that each member of the jury has different expectation. I mean, if I am in the jury and I play the percussion, I will be very, very careful, very big attention, a lot of attention about the rhythm, of course. If I am a violin player, and I will listen to the sound, to the intonation, and most of the time, when we have a string competition, we have a classical piece at the very beginning. Why? Because for all of the members of the jury, this is the easy way to hear if somebody is able to play in tune or not. You get a Mozart concerto, for example, for the violin. The first three notes are a major chord, and it's really easy to hear for everybody if it's in tune or not. So the strategy is, don't let the member of the jury have the opportunity to take off their voice. If you have one wrong note, the violin will say, okay, it's wrong. But if it was the good rhythm, so the percussion player could be more or less, okay, I let my voice. But if you count the number of the voice, you only this, it could be a problem. When we did this exercise, in the final one, there were only two musicians for the, I think it was a violin post, an exercise, but as a professional one. And we gave 7 voices for one and no one single voice to the other. But the second one, he played also very well, but there was small differences. So it means that if you have 0 voice, it doesn't mean that you did it wrong. It just means that you were not the best this day. So don't be absolutely under I mean, at home and depressed because you have no voice. It's not, you cannot know exactly why. So don't imagine that you are wrong. It's only you have to understand things for the future. So this is the professional part. I can give you some examples. And also you have to understand that in those competitions, the orchestral excerpts are very, very, very important, because you apply for a position in an orchestra where you will play these excerpts. And it's as important as the concertos and the other pieces. So you have to prepare it very, very well. And with your teacher also. Pauline, you want to say something?
Yes, no, it's absolutely important. We will follow with the preparation, but in general, just to finish about the goal of an audition, the panel can be very diverse. And if you can know who is in the panel, you will adapt your playing. So the first thing, get the information about the members, then know that you need to show your best about the musical quality, to have the highest possible, of course, with the better sound, better intonation, all the precisions in the repertoire. And of course, you need to know which role you will play once in the orchestra, and to prove that you know already what role you will play. That's very important. As Quentin said, if you apply to be a timpanist or to be just in the percussion rank, I mean, it's not the same challenge, and you really have to adapt your playing. Yes, and of course, final, as Quentin said, also something which is important, that the music, but the way you can communicate your passion, and you will also send some energy during your audition, and the panel is very diverse and they will receive this energy. So please take care to send a good one. Then yes, we will go to the preparation and the orchestra extracts, because I think that's really, really, really the key and at the heart of an orchestra audition. So please, Quentin.
So if we continue with the excerpts, the first thing you have to do is to listen to recording. I would say to recordings, because you should to listen. There are many ways to play one piece, and you have many recordings with different approaches. It depends on the conductor, but also of the period when this recording has been recorded. I mean, if you play a Beethoven symphony and you listen to a recording by Karajan, it has nothing to do with what we are used to play today as a style. So you have to be aware of what is the style today in each composer. So really take care of what you listen and what stay in your ear. There are many recordings also directly from the composers themselves. This is very good to listen. For example, Stravinsky recorded Stravinsky. This is the best example. Britain, or there are many, and this is the reference. We have the chance that this composer were still alive when the recording were created. So listen to this and listen to try to identify the way to. So it can be a problem of tempo. For example, once in an audition, one musician played something. Adagio from the beginning of a classical symphony. It was so slow and absolutely not connected to what we play today. So take care of it. Listen to recording. Another thing, when you play your line, you absolutely must be aware of who played in the same time and what. For example, in all our auditions, we have a piece, except from the Bartók orchestra concerto, and it's a line, a timpani line. It looks very easy. There is nothing, absolutely nothing to play, only some notes with a very easy rhythm. But it's very clear for us when we hear the contestants. It's really clear to identify who listened to it before and who knows what is the theme in the same time they play. So if the musician doesn't know what is the theme at the same time, it's clear because he doesn't play exactly how it should be. I mean, it's not, there is no phrasing and the rhythm is not precise. So really be aware of it. Don't hesitate to ask to your teachers to work with you and to work with you simply, because most of them they play also in orchestras, and what we give as excerpts, it's not unknown pieces. So most of them, they know the pieces and they can help. Be very clear with the articulations, accent. Also the composer, an accent can be different if it comes from Brahms or another composer. Also, what is very important, when you have the chance to get on the parts, a tempo. Try to be aware who wrote this tempo, the composer or the editor. If it's the composer, why not to do it? Why? For example, in the flute part, we have an excerpt from the Jeu de cartes, the card game by Stravinsky. And the tempo is quite slow, what he wrote, but it's because it's a ballet. You have dancer at the same time acting. So if you play too fast, it's not possible to dance. And then we hear it and we say, why they play like this? It's written. So just read it and try to listen to it. Another thing, this comes from my teacher. He said to us this sentence: the metronome is your best friend. work with the metronome. It's really easy to realize if you can keep a tempo if you are alone or if you need the group. And if you are strong enough to dictate and don't change tempo in every bar, then it's something very strong, especially when you have a rest or long rest. You have to listen to the music in the same time and to count, to be absolutely exact when you have a rest. By the percussion player, for us, it's so easy to say, okay, he had two quarter rest, but the second one was too short. But he wants to be a percussion player in the orchestra, so it's very easy for us to take off a vote. So this is the strategy to not to be eliminated too early in the competition.
And maybe I should precise something is
Yeah.
that during an audition with Quentin, as a panel member, he has his phone. It's his phone on the end with the metronome app, and he's checking all the performances of the musicians to see if we are in the good tempo during for each extract. So you can believe Quentin is phoning or whatever, but he's not phoning at all. He's controlling the tempi. So that's what every panel member is doing during an audition. So all the things, maybe you can consider I'm playing alone. So I'm a soloist today, just me and the panel. Actually, you're not playing a lot for us. You will play in an orchestra. So you really need to keep in mind that we are checking all the little details, which are not details when it comes to play all together with 100 musicians. Great. And also in the audition, you always have this kind of balance between a compulsory program and also a piece of your own choosing. And it's always like this, but the main thing is you have to keep in mind that for orchestra auditions, we will always have the focus and give the priority to the orchestra extracts, because that's what equalize all the applicants. So for the piece of your own choosing, maybe one very simple advice from Quentin is choose something which should make you stand out, Quentin, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember what I did also by myself audition as a viola player before. And it's really difficult when you don't have time to prepare another piece and you are studying a study, especially a study. The study in your repertoire are here to improve your skills. And if you choose something difficult because you are just working on it, it's not a good choice because you show us the difficulties of your instrument. So it's not strategic. You would better take a piece where you are absolutely comfortable. And I remember for me, it was, I had some pieces, one or two in a viola repertoire, like this, it's not the important, but I had one or two pieces which I was absolutely sure to show what I could do. It was not Bach, because Bach, it was not my most comfortable repertoire, but for you it can be Bach. But it's better for you to choose something you can really improve and show us your talent. I wanted to add one, yes, regarding the metronome. The question is not am I at 76 or 77 or 78? It's not the question. When I take the metronome, it's only when I have a doubt. I mean, I feel this is too fast or really too slow. Then I go back to the metronome to check. And every time it's true that there is a problem regarding it can be also the interpretation about the tempo, and when you are playing, your heart can be a bit more accelerated, so you don't have the exact tempo. It's not a problem. It's a question of a balance. Is it really, it can be this tempo, a bit faster, a bit slower, but not too much. Really, there is a range. You cannot go across this range. Not so really take care of it. What should we do now?
Yes, we should move forward because time is running. So
absolutely.
just very quickly, about also the instrument very quickly, but it's very important. We quite often have musicians who who don't just have well-maintained instruments for their audition, and they just didn't think about checking this before the audition because they are used to play with their instruments, and sometimes it just need a small adjustments in order to have the best quality possible for your audition. So it's just something you really should be careful of. And also for the auxiliary instruments, what we mean by that is, for instance, your clarinet player can also play the piccolo clarinet. Please show it. Your clarinet player can also play the bass. Well, you need to show it. Same with the flute, same with for the woodwinds in general. But it's very important because when you will have a job in the orchestra, you can have to replace or to play also parts because the repertoire requested it. So it's absolutely important to show your skills in all the instruments you're playing and practicing. Sometimes you want to keep a focus on something you absolutely know very well, but it's not a very good strategy because the repertoire sometimes needs you to be able to switch from one instrument to another one in the same parts. So it's absolutely much needed for your career to be able to show that you can play these auxiliary instruments. Yes, and I think it's nearly time for the end of our presentation. So we are switching to what can make you stand out during your audition. It's kind of a summary, but the first thing, it's a communication moment for you. You need to communicate who you are very quickly in 10 or 15 minutes during an audition. Maybe sometimes it's less, it's just 5 minutes. So every detail is important, but first you need to inspire confidence to the panel by showing that you're very serious, you're a hard worker, and you know about orchestra and what it means already a bit. You did some research, you tried your best to prepare your program. If you don't show it in 10 minutes, I mean, it's going to be very difficult to be sure. Please, Quentin.
Pauline, I would like to add something regarding this. It's very, very important for you to be absolutely well tuned when you begin to play. How many times we listen, for example, timpanis, you have only 2 timpanis in Beethoven with a quint, and it's not correct before playing it. Take the time to be absolutely
Exactly.
tuned. Otherwise, this doesn't help to consider you as a serious person candidate.
Yeah, all things you can consider, which are details, are absolutely not details during 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Everything is so important and meaningful. So indeed, the way you warmed up, the way you're entering into the piece, are you smiling or not smiling? Are you happy to be here or not? Are you terrified or are you confident? I mean, all of these means a lot. And when you only have 5 or 10 minutes, well, you have to anticipate the impression you want to give to the panel. And that's very small details, but indeed, you take time to check out your tuning. Did you take time to warm before arriving? Are you on time? Did you really make the effort to follow the requested orchestra extracts precisely? All these kind of things means a lot, and you're sending a message while entering a place, a venue, an auditions venues, and beginning to play. Also, Quentin, there is something sometimes, musicians, they are so much focused on music. They are entering the place and they don't say hello. They are just playing straight away. And it's a very simple thing, but I mean, we are all human beings. So please be ready to communicate with the panel, even if you're impressed. I mean, be ready, prepare some introduction if asked, so that you're ready to talk. Mainly, panel can be English speakers. It's not only when it's international, it's not French which is used. So just prepare your sentences in English before, if you're not comfortable with English before, and get ready to reply to some questions, to communicate, to explain who you are, to introduce yourself. And also something, Kota, which is very important, it's the flexibility we can feel in you, because you will be part of an orchestra. You will have a conductor asking you to do some things, maybe to change your usual way of playing things. And it's really something which is terrible. It's when it comes to, we are doing remarks, and the reaction of the musician is very meaningful too. Can you give an example of this? But yeah,
yes, I have some.
have some.
So for the, you have to understand that if we ask you to change things, first the rule is please change it, even if you are not agree with it, because it just show your ability to adapt to what a conductor asks. And if you don't change, we don't understand why you go to the orchestra. And I have to tell you one story. One professional musician, I listened to him before he went to the competition, and I told him, you will see, not in the first round, not in the second round, but in the final round, maybe the conductor, he's in the jury, he will ask you to change something. Please do what he wants. Otherwise, he will say, no, I won't take him. And it happened exactly in this one. The conductor asked, it was the Ravel piano concerto, the English horn solo. Please, could you play it again, but really slower, please. He gave a first, the musician gave a first lecture quite fast, and then he asked, okay, please do it slower. He did it very much slower, almost at the 8-note beating, and he got the position. He didn't like the way how he asked the conductor, but he did it, so he got the position. So really be flexible, and if somebody asks you something, it's never negative. It's just to see your ability to adapt.
Exactly, and that's one of the key during your auditions. It's really to show that you're open and flexible, and of course, as I said, show you're enthusiastic, because it's even if you're absolutely stressful, and I mean, it's stressful, it's very challenging, and it's difficult, an audition, but you know why you're doing it. First slide. So you know that it's because you're passionate about music, you really want to do this job, so show it. Show this item. I mean, it's sometimes it's not obvious when you see somebody who is very stressed and anxious, and you say, does this person really realize that it's about pleasure, it's about music, it's about a passion, a really musical passion? So show it. And an audition is always an opportunity. It's a challenge, but it's always an opportunity. It's just a step. So yeah, you should show that if you decided to do this audition, it's because you love music and you love this job. I think that the final advice, and I don't know if we have questions, but of course we're sending good luck to everybody in this process. I don't know if you have questions, maybe, or remarks. Yes, I think Adele.
Hi. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I don't know if it's like completely related, because it's like a very concrete question. Actually, it's about like the auditions for the next year sessions, because I tried to find the audition dates online and I couldn't find any. So I was wondering if there is any recruitment this year. And I'm not a classical player. I play jazz flute.
Okay.
And I wanted to present something to join the Medinea sessions, and I didn't find anything online. So I was wondering.
Yes, indeed. This year we are just having one Medinea session in Ljubljana in March, but not having another in July next. So we are not opening this year for this program. So we will have opportunities soon. So please stay tuned for the next round of audition. Yes. Well, actually, it was quite focused indeed about classical auditions. This this webinar. But if you also have questions about the other kind of audition, we're here to reply to. I don't know if you need more technical advices for jazz players or.
I don't know exactly what you have to present for for the
Medinea?
because it was hard. I tried to find information on the website, and it was very mysterious.
Of course,
So,
because we didn't open this year. So, okay, I will explain. In case for jazz players in general, what the panel, it's quite rare to have audition actually in the jazz field. It's more rare than in classical music. So that's the first thing, but it's happening quite a lot, and I think it's developing for many projects. So the thing which is always very important, it's in this music, is to explain where do you come from musically. So first, if you have a particular repertoire in jazz you're comfortable with, such as, I don't know, bebop or more swing things, or another kind of period like free jazz, and it's really your comfort zone. So please show first your comfort zone. So where do you come from musically, and what are your roots? But it's also the same with players who comes from, for instance, traditional music of the Mediterranean. And sometimes, you know, you're very rooted in a tradition because that's how you learn music, basically. So please show how did you learn music and what is your comfort zone. And then the second step of an audition, usually in jazz, but also it can happen for our Medinea sessions and for traditional players, is to show where you want to go. So first is where do you come from, then where do you want to go, and to show basically what kind of creative process you want to try, and what kind of combination of sound, what kind of research are you doing as a musician, what kind of risk would you like to take, and to try to express this. What is complicated is, for instance, for Medinea, we ask solo audition mainly. Sometimes it's possible to also interact with others. It depends of the venues. In some venues it's possible, in some venues it's not possible. So it's not really easy, we know that. So usually we ask if we are missing some information during just the audition moment. We ask for to add some video links and to have more information about your own experience as a player with others, because it's very important. But it can also happen, it's happening quite a lot in jazz, that you have a sight reading exercise with the standards. It can happen, these kind of things. We're not doing it with the Orchestre des Jeunes de la Méditerranée and Medinea, but yes, you can have quite a lot. So of course you have to know your real books quite by heart, be able to transpose and adapt. And and sight reading is really something which is very common in jazz. So you absolutely need to train on these. And you can have the same kind of very basic advice. It's to listen first and then practice. So listen to a lot of repertoire, compare the different approaches, the different versions, and then try to find your own, but really know that you have to get this kind of culture, musical culture, when it comes to audition. Is it helpful for you?
Ah oui, merci beaucoup. Yeah.
De rien. Do you have other questions, maybe? Yes, Alessandra?
Hi, I don't know if you can hear me well enough because I'm in a bar.
Yeah.
So, hi, and
Hi.
thank you very much for the session. This webinar was very, very interesting, even though I'm not a classical trained musician, but it was very interesting. I just wanted to ask you something, which is like a kind of a psychological question, but I don't know if this, I mean, it could be helpful, I guess, to talk a little bit about this. When you said that you have to be well aware of what you are auditioning for, that's absolutely true. I think that this is absolutely true. And if you are, I don't know, at a certain level that can allow you to participate at that kind of audition, that kind of project, but how can we deal with that? I don't know if this is a word in English, but the imposter syndrome. Like when you as a musician,
right.
sometimes you're not that objective on your level, and sometimes like it's something very big and it scares you, but you actually want to do this, and you think you are at a level that could allow you, but sometimes you got those intrusive thoughts. So
I think we all have this, even if we're not saying it sometimes. Also as a panel, You have to think about that. But sometimes you're listening to musicians and you're, oh, I don't know very well this music. Should I be here? And should I judge or something? You know, it's really happening to everybody. So first, I think that's the first step, just to think that you are in the same situation like everybody around you. Then I think it's really to balance, you have your fears, then to balance it with the feedback you're receiving. It's another information you should consider the same way your own perception, and then to consider with the same seriousness the perception of what the other think of you, and which is difficult, but to consider that it's also a very important feedback in what you're doing. And then the extra level is really why. Again, I mean, does it deserve your stress or not? Stress is it can be very helpful to challenge yourself, to work a lot. So sometimes it can be your friend in a way, when it's not paralyzing you, but it's really something which pushes you to give your best and to train and to work and to, and really to develop your skills. So I think it's really important when it happens to just relax and say, okay, I am ready, because if you're not, don't do it. If you're ready but afraid, what do I need? Is that help from the others? Is it time? Is it to organize your schedule differently? Is it to work with somebody in particular to help you to tackle this? And then to think that everybody is actually in this situation in one moment of his life. So it's quite healthy. If you're not having this, it means you can be a bit narcissistic. So I think when it comes to considering how should I be here and so on. So I think it's also something which keep you humble in a way, and that's also much needed to stay healthy in everything you're doing. So just take it as a friend and try to balance, your own perception of yourself and how people think you are, and try to have an idea which is just in the middle of that. And stress should push you to develop skills and not paralyze you. So try to work also. I know it's very difficult, but it's really a question of balance. Sometimes it means to leave your own bubble and open, and it's helping a lot. I don't know if it's helping you.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
If I may, if you prepare a competition for in front of a jury, first thing, don't leave with people who ask you one day before, are you sure you are well prepared? This doesn't help. It arrived me many times, and every time it didn't went well after. It didn't went well. Go away. Sorry. And don't consider the jury as somebody so important. There are people you won't see the day after. So just don't consider them. You know they are musicians. Don't try to know if there are big stars in the jury. It's not important. What is important is how confident in your work, in your preparation you are, and your preparation comes from how much time did I work on it, how much you have to develop also your musical culture on this helps you to be confident. If you are confident enough, you don't take care about the jury, you play, and if they like you, they vote for you. If not, okay, we'll do another one. But don't be so stressful with people you don't know.
Thank you. This is very, very helpful. I wanted to talk about this because it usually doesn't stop me. Like I just go to auditions. If I want something, I just go and reach for it. But at the meantime, like this feeling, this kind of imposter syndrome actually eats me inside anyways. So like, as you said, it's something that has to, like, I have to learn how to balance these things.
Yeah, it's and also just one simple thing, just do it anyway. Just be in action, act and do it, and do things, even if it's not perfect, just do it. And I think that's maybe the best advice we can give is just don't stop yourself and do. And it's by doing that you will gain confidence, that you will gain feedbacks also, because you're doing, so people are receiving. So, you know, you will have feedbacks and helpful feedbacks. So just do and act. It's not perfect. It's okay. It's out of time. It's okay, but do it, you know, and be in
Most
action.
of the time, if you are afraid of what the jury will think about you, maybe it's because you are not so sure of, will they hear that I didn't practice this note or this one, this thing or that. But if you are sure you prepared it correctly, you don't have to ask you this question. They are here to listen to you, and you are so strong in what you want, then there is no doubt, and they just will listen to you in with good eyes.
Yeah.
You know, the jury, they are never here to fight you or to be it's not the question. The question is just to help the contestant and to try to take the best, but they are not here in an opposite way. Never.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was very helpful.